Hello everyone and welcome to a new video in our IFS Cloud video series. My name is Marcela Ushan, I'm an IFS consultant, and today we will be talking about a bit more advanced topic, and namely how to set up WaDaCo in IFS Cloud. WaDaCo stands for, it's an abbreviation, stands for Warehouse Data Collection. So basically, this is like a scanner application, if you will, for managing warehouse tasks. Yeah. So in your warehouse employees will normally do a bunch of activities. Yeah, they will move different items from location to location. They will do picking for your production orders, picking for your sales orders for your customer orders. They will do packing, they will do counting, yeah, and all of these activities normally they will not do from a laptop. Normally they will have like a scanning device, maybe a Zebra device, for example, like a pistol scanner that they will just read a few barcodes and press a few buttons on the scanner, and this is how they do most of the transactions in the warehouse. Now, when it comes to IFS Cloud specific setup, we have something that's called Warehouse Data Collection, and now I will just jump into the system. Yeah, so in the warehouse management folder, we have a warehouse data collection folder, and here inside we have a bunch of different pages. So if you've watched the previous videos, you've noticed that we did a video where we delivered a customer order with a shipment. Yeah, and during the explanations for the report picking functionality, I mentioned that in real life, the report picking is done with a scanner using warehouse data collection application. So the warehouse data collection is also available as an Android and iOS application called IFS Scanit. So it's available in the different app stores, can be downloaded, and then you can connect it to the IFS with the IFS URL. Yeah. But being an application, a standalone application, doesn't mean that you have to program anything in order to make a few processes work. Yeah. So how does this work? This is a easy to configure, I would say, application, so that the users, depending on their different activities, will see only the processes that they are allowed to run or they need to run for their daily business, in warehouse. So basically, if we have a look here, yeah, this data collection in the warehouse management, all of these pages are useful in order to configure the different processes to make them available for the users to start doing their activities. Yeah? So first of all, we are talking about a data collection menu. So we will need to create a menu, and obviously a menu will consist of a few processes. Yeah, we will have a look at what processes are, and each process can have one or more configurations. Yeah, so each process can be configured to work slightly different from case to case, depending on the different business scenarios that you might have. Yeah, we will also have a look at the data collection sessions. So at any time, whenever our users are using the IFS Scanit application, that application will initiate a session with the server. And here in the data collection sessions, we can see all the sessions that are running at a given time. Yeah, and then in here with the warehouse data collection, we also can emulate the functionality that the IFS Scanit application will have. Obviously, we will configure a bunch of things, and before making things available for our users in the production environment, of course, we would also want to test and emulate how this system would behave. Yeah, and we have a screen here to do that. Yeah, so I will walk you through the process. For example, in today's video, we will enable two different processes. Let's say one for delivering picking parts for a customer order, and the other one maybe for picking something on the shop order, yeah, for production. So first of all, we will create a menu. We create a menu by coming to the data collection menu, pressing the plus sign, and then we can give it a name. I will just give it my name for demo purposes. Aushan scan it menu. Yeah, we'll just hit OK. And then here we can see we have now a screen where we can add different processes. Yeah, so first of all, what I will do, if I expand here, yeah, I can see that here I can build like my an own tree, yeah, with different directories inside. So I have 3 tabs here to the right. So consists of means all the processes that we will add to this menu. Yeah, the list of processes. If we go to the processes tab here, we see the full list of processes, and there are a bunch of processes already available. I think 60 something when I last checked. If we just try to select all of these, yeah, 64 processes, yeah, that are available. And then we can also specify this menu for which companies it should be valid and for which sites. Yeah? You can run your IFS as a multi-company, multi-site environment, and therefore you can have different menus be applicable to different companies in IFS, yeah? Which is quite nice. But before adding any processes to our menu, let's maybe just add some folders to group things. So I will just add one folder. I will call it maybe deliveries. As a first folder, sort order number 1. I'll say done. And I will create a new folder, press plus sign and say production. And this one would be the second folder. Yeah. In the deliveries folder, we will add the picking process for the customer orders. In the production, we will add the picking process for shop orders, for example. Yeah. So I'll just say done and hit OK. And now I have the 2 folders, and let me maybe just add them as valid for our company DE01. Save it and also add this to our site. Yeah, because also in the company you can have multiple sites, so the data collection menu could be site specific. But in our case, we will just link it with the DE11 site, save. Okay, and now we have like the basic structure for our menu. Now if we go again, open the navigator and go to warehouse data collection. Yeah. If we click here on this data warehouse collection, right now we can see we don't have much. Yeah. This is the screen that will emulate the IFS Scanit application. Yeah. Right now we don't have much, but we need to keep on building our menu. Yeah. So basically I will just select the deliveries folder and go to the processes. And from here, I have a list of all the processes which are available, 64 processes. Let me enlarge this. Okay. And here we can start filtering by our process. So maybe let's just filter by pick. Let's see how many pick processes we have. And we can see we have a lot. Pick handling units, pick parts, report picking part. What we would need to select is this start picking for customer order and report picking of parts for customer order. Yeah, so for example, I would just select this one and say connect to menu. Yeah, so report picking of parts for the customer order, I will connect it to the menu, and immediately we see it's available here. Yeah, so this is the process. We can also have a look at the process either by directly clicking on the hyperlink or by going through the data collection process page and try to find the same process. I will just click on it, and basically this is the definition. Let me maybe close the navigator here for a bit. This is the definition for reporting picking for the customer order. Yeah, so we have a bunch of data item IDs, which are basically columns that we will need in order to be used on the configuration. And we can see here the different data types of the different columns, if it's a process key or uppercase, lowercase, and what's the length, and if it has a default value or not. So we see here a bunch of different fields. We have something about feedback items where we can get additional information from the system for a certain process. We also have a few controls, that we can allow in our, or we can edit in our configuration. So for example, each process will have a set of its own controls. If we allow to overpick, for example, order lines, we can set this to true or false in the configuration. So as I said before, each process can have one or multiple configurations which can be applicable. We can also set up a menu image, so we can browse in our laptop and save an image for this menu. I don't have any images selected, but you got the point. Good. And now from this data collection process, we can go into the configuration. So as we've seen, we have the menu. Then each menu consists of a few folders. Each folder can have multiple data processes, and then each process can have one or more configurations. Now the process is basically the definition of how things should work, but the configuration is basically the place where you want to change how the data is shown in the scanner application, how different default values are fetched. You can even from one configuration you can start another process. For example, you can create like a workflow of different processes. By default, all the configurations will be in editable mode. So in order to be able to use them, we will need to release them. But before doing that, maybe let's talk a little bit about the data collection configurations. So best practice is normally to just leave the standard configurations, and normally the configuration ID 1. So each capture process can have different configurations. The standard one is that comes with the installation of IFS Cloud. Each capture process will have one configuration, so configuration ID 1, which will be in editable mode. Normally the best practice is to leave this configuration as is, don't modify it. This is IFS standard. You can copy the configuration. This is what we will do. Copy the configuration. It gets immediately number 2 for this configuration. And here we can give it a label that will show in our menu. So for example, Ausan report picking for customer orders. Okay, I can enable media items, meaning I can attach pictures or fetch pictures. I don't want to do that now. Good. I was telling you about the controls which are coming over from the capture process. So basically here we can say if we want to allow over picking lines. So for example, if we need to pick 2 pieces, if we have this enabled, we could even declare in the system that we picked 3 pieces and it would be fine. Yeah? If we disable this, we don't allow overpicking. Yeah? And I think let's not allow overpicking for this. Yeah, and we have some more controls here, but these are not very relevant for now. Yeah, just know that for each configuration you can have some standard controls which you can enable or disable. Important thing, you cannot add new controls. Yeah, these are the built-in controls which will display some error messages if enabled to the end user, if they are misbehaving in terms of what data they need to put in. No? Good. Then we can, after going through the general tab, we can go to the items, and here we see the data items that will be displayed and the order in which they will be displayed in the scanner app. And also we can see if there are a bunch of attributes here. For example, if hide line is always, then it will never be visible. So this warehouse task ID will never be seen in the scanner app. Pick list number, this one is never hidden, so it will always be shown. Unique line ID, it's always hidden, so never shown, and so on. So we have a bunch of different attributes here, and there is extensive documentation in IFS, in the docs.ifs.com. You can see exactly what each of these attributes will do. So it's not the purpose of this video to go into all of these details. Right now we will just focus on configuring our menu, with at least 2 different configurations, 2 different processes, and then to show you how this works with a shipment, for example. Good, so we have a bunch of items with an order and then different logic that gets applied. We also need to make sure we enable our data collection configuration for the companies that we want. So for example, in our case it's DE01, and of course you can have different configurations that are applicable for different companies, which is again quite nice. And also here by default it's valid for all the sites, but if we want to specify specific sites, we can say it's not valid for all sites, and then we could add the site on the left panel. But in our case we only have one site, so we could have said valid for all sites. But for the sake of the example, we said let's give it access to the company and then to the site. Then you can also accept some users from seeing this. So even though it's valid for this company and this site, but maybe you want 1 or 2 users to be excluded, you can define them here. Or maybe you want some user group not to see this data collection configuration in the menu. This is also possible. You can also define what other subsequent process should be started, for example, after this one is done, and you can also set up a menu image for this data collection configuration. Okay, before we can use this data collection configuration, we also need to release it. So we can release. And now you see the status changed to released. One important thing is that you see that after the process is completed, it will create a new session for the start picking. So this means also if we want to use this configuration, we also need to make sure that we have a released process for the start picking. So if I jump into the data collection configuration for start picking, we see again it's capture configuration 1. So we will do the same thing. We will copy the configuration. Now we get number 2. We can also give it a name, a label. OSUN start picking, and also it needs to be valid for our company. So once again, DE011, DE01, sorry. And this time I will leave it valid for all the sites, and not limit the access to any user or any user group. And we also need to make sure we release this one. And now it's released. Good. And then what else? Then we will need to go back to our menu. So if I go back to data collection menu, for example, now we see in the deliveries, if we expand, we have the report picking of parts for customer order. Yes, and in production at the moment we don't have anything. So I will just maybe come to production and also add here one process for example, for the sake of the example. Adding process can be done from here by selecting and saying connect to menu, and it will connect to the menu that you have selected. Or you can come to consists of and then say plus and then try to say it's a process and then try to find the process that you want to add. So I will just say cancel new, and for me I find it easier to come to the processes, and from here I will just filter for description. Let's search something for shop order, for example. This is for manufacturing. Shop order is the name of the manufacturing order in IFS. And so for example, I can put the receive shop order process. I will just click on it and connect to menu. And now you see I have the receive shop order here, but the same discussion. It's not enough that I have the process added to the menu. I also need to go inside the process and have a look at the configuration and also make sure I have copied the configuration and the copied version, the capture configuration ID 2 should be released. But before releasing, I will need to make sure that I will link it with our company so that it's visible in the menu. I link it with the company. I'm looking here to see what happens when the process stops. So it says it will create a new session. That's fine. And it will ask to start the process again. So basically our receive shop order, once the process is finished, it will initiate a new session and again ask the user if they want to receive some other shop order, which is good. In this case, we could leave it like that, or we could say return to menu. So once you received one shop order, maybe you don't have to receive another one immediately, so you just return the user to the main menu. But in this case, we will just leave it as it was. And all we will do, we will just release it. Maybe we can also have a look at the items, but here are things related to the manufacturing of the product. But the rest of the attributes will be pretty much the same. But again, we won't go through all of these details. Just need to make sure valid for companies is here. We will release the data collection configuration. So right now it is released. And then we can go back in our data collection menu. And now we will see the two folders: report picking of parts for customer order and receive shop order, which is good. And if we try to emulate to see how it will look on the Scanit app, we can go to the warehouse data collection, and now we see two folders. We can open the folder, and then inside the folder we will see the exact process that we want to run, and we can also start scanning. You see, because we had the pick list number set up, or the data item for the pick list number set up to be fetched automatically, and since we only have just one pick list number at this moment open for this DE011 site, Yeah, you can see immediately it fetched the pick list number, the only one that's open in the system. It gives us the shipment ID, it gives us the order number, the part description, and it's just asking for the real part number that we will pick, and we can choose it from a list or scan it. In this moment, we can scan it from a label, for example. Yeah? We can scan a barcode and then feed this information into this field. Yeah? Similarly, if we just cancel out of here, we can go back and we can go into the production folder, and here we will see the receive shop order. And if we press on scan, of course here it's trying to get some shop order number, but of course it's not able to find anything because we haven't created any shop order for our system, for our environment. Yeah, and if I try to go to the list of values, again it will find nothing, no data. So basically the process is set up, but I don't have any data to be received from production. No? Okay, then let me maybe go into the shipment so that we can process this picking. So if I just open the shipment page, maybe open it in a different tab. So I will open the shipment page. So I have created, before starting the recording for this video, I have created an order and I have released the order and the shipment was created. And the shipment, let me just try to find it. Yeah, it's shipment ID number 8. Yeah, and if I look at the lines, yeah, we can see we have a quantity of 2 that we need to pick. Yeah, the quantity is reserved and needs to be picked. So quantity to pick 2, picked is 0. No? So next step in the shipment flow is report picking. And basically now, instead of just saying from here report picking, in real life a pick list will be printed. Yeah, and we have the pick list here for our shipment ID 8. And in this pick list, yeah, the users will see exactly what they need to pick. So from location picking, one piece with this serial number, and from the other location, another piece of bicycle with this other serial number. Yeah, this is what they would need to do. Okay, and then the users will just take this list, take the warehouse data collection application or IFS scan it, either on Android or on an iOS device, and they will come to the deliveries folder. For example, they have something to pick, so they will start the picking process. So pressing on the report picking, immediately it finds the pick list number 13, which is indeed the pick list that we are looking at. And it's just asking for the part number. They could scan it. So we could format this pick list in such a way that instead of showing the part number here, it can show it as a barcode, for example. So they will just scan this information. A similar serial number could be shown as a barcode and so on. But in our case, we will just choose it from a list of available. So if we don't have anything to scan, we can press on the list after selecting the field, and we will get a list of all the part numbers from that pick list. It's just one part number in our case, so we will just select the line and save it. And then the system is asking us for the next thing. Tell me the lot batch number which was reserved. So just to make sure you are picking the right thing. Again, we could take it from here. This is the lot batch number. In fact, let me just copy it from here, paste it into the field and say save. So it accepted the lot batch number. And now obviously, since our inventory part is serial tracked, it will also ask for the serial number, so we can choose it from a list. And in this case, if we come to the list, we should see the serial number that was reserved. We can select it, or we could have just copy pasted it from here. Yeah, we could have copied it from here, but we will just select it from the list. It's much more easier. You know? Handling unit ID, we don't have a handling unit ID, so here we can either put 0 or choose 0 from the list. I will just choose it from the list. So if we are an organization that is not using handling units, so handling units meaning pallets, or boxes where you handle inventory parts by the dozen, not piece by piece, then we can even remove this handling unit ID from the from our process configuration, that we will not use it in our site. That's also possible. And then finally, it's asking for the location number. Maybe this time we just copy it from here. It's our picking location number. I will just paste it and say save. And now release reservation. Yes, we want to release it, and just save it and press save to confirm. Yes, we saved it. Okay, so now it's saying that the start picking is not released. Okay, let's maybe do that quickly. So we go to our warehouse configuration, warehouse data collection, and then configuration. Let's have a look at the process. So the process is start picking. Maybe let me copy it. Data collection process, start picking. And if we go to configurations, okay, yeah, and the idea here is that we have copied it, and give it configuration ID 2, but our process that starts the picking for customer order, which in turn starts the second process, is probably referring to configuration ID 1. And in that case, let me maybe just quickly double check. So we have this other one. Or maybe let me just check by the status. State released set. So this one is the one that we are using, report picking part, and it's starting the subsequent process ID with configuration ID 1. So in this case, we copied this configuration in start picking but configuration ID 2, but we forgot to say that the process that we are using should also start configuration ID 2 and not 1. But in this case, just to fix the error, I will just come back to this process and just release the first one, the start picking. I will go to say valid for companies DE01 and save, and I will just release it so that we can get rid of the error message. And now I try to save again. And reporting of picking was saved. Now we can go back to the menu, and maybe let's also go back to the shipment. So our shipment is this one, number 8. And now if we look at the shipment line, maybe refresh. Yeah, we can see picked quantity is 1. Yeah. Of course, it's not yet packed, but we managed to pick it. And since we had 2 pieces on the pick list, but we finished the process with just picking the first one, now the second one needs to be reserved again. But this is how the warehouse data collection works. So basically here in our folders we could add different things. We could add for deliveries report picking of parts for customer order. We could say a second one to do the packing, a third one to execute the delivery, and so on. So we could really add a lot of the different processes and configurations available. And you've seen we have already 64 processes available in WaDaCo, and this number is always growing. When WaDaCo was released in apps 9, in IFS applications 9, it was just available with a handful of processes. But in time, IFS R&D are doing a good job, and with each new release update, they bring a few new processes. So basically, in the end, probably they will be able to cover all the different processes that you can do from the IFS Cloud application when it comes to inventory transactions. So I hope it was useful for you to see like an overview and a hands-on configuration of a warehouse data collection menu, and explanation about the different processes that are available and configurations. So thank you very much for your attention. Have a great rest of the day and speak soon. Bye.